value discipline over motivation, because you cannot just hope to be motivated to do everything you have to do. Sometimes you just have to learn to do it.
Welcome to Honest Ecommerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest Ecommerce. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and today, welcoming to the show, Suzie Cyrenne. She is the co-founder of not one, but two successful businesses. The first was an e-commerce store started back in 2013, and the second was a software company launched in 2018, where she currently serves as COO in both companies. Suzie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm excited to chat. We've got a lot to talk about here. So, I guess, what is the store, and then what is the software company? I didn't say that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the store, like you said, is a e-commerce store. We started in 2013. So we offer natural and homeopathic remedies for pets. And so we help many pet parents, but we also have like vets, homeopaths themselves come to us to help treat their pet with our natural remedies. And what's great is just we don't have any added chemicals, and it helps customers, just pet parents, avoid the high costs of vet bills as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's for the e-commerce. And as for the software company, it actually was an idea that came from a need from our e-commerce that we were having as e-commerce entrepreneurs, my husband and I. So basically, when you have an e-commerce business, you do a lot of your costs go into shipping, right? So and we started shipping products, let's say internationally, not just in the US where we ship most, and even up to today, let's say a $30 bottle, and the customer wanted the product really fast. So they were willing to pay like double what they pay for the product just for shipping. And if that arrived late, then what happened? The customer just came back to us and they told us, okay, well, I want you to refund my shipping, and which made total sense. We took ownership of that. And then that's when we realized that, okay, you can actually go back to your carrier, because we were looking for a solution not to lose money on our end. And that's when we discovered that late delivery guarantees exists, and we can actually claim those back if they did not deliver on their promise. So we discovered that for us. We asked for those late deliveries. We claimed those. And then we realized a lot of e-commerce owners don't know about this. So we just turned it into a business. So that's what we do with our SaaS company.
Awesome. There's a lot more to get into, but let's just go back in time. Yeah. Let's talk about the beginning stages. Where did the idea for this pet product business come from?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I was influenced by my mother-in-law. She was actually practicing 15, 20 years ago, homeopathy, and she made natural remedies from home. And I didn't really believe in it. I was not a big believer in natural products. A lot of people who haven't really been introduced to it will think it's a placebo or things like that. So I was in that camp. But I had been on prescription drugs for many years for a skin issue. And honestly, I had no solution. I didn't know what to do else. So eventually, when you've tried almost everything, you're willing to try anything else. So that's what I did. I asked her, would this work, so just for me. So I tried that, and my problems cleared up within a few months of using homeopathic remedies. So that's when I realized, okay, this stuff actually works. So during that time, I also realized that there weren't better options for pets too naturally. I had a dog. I just adopted a dog, and I was giving him like medication, and he like had severe diarrhea from it, things like that. So I was like, there has to be a more natural route. So that's when the idea of creating a line of natural remedies, especially for US-based customers, started. So we developed that. And I think our first website was actually on WooCommerce, which was a big flop. I think the first time we actually launched the website, the first 6 months, we had no sales. I think pretty much like 99.9% of people would have abandoned by then, but we really believed in what we had. So we migrated everything to Shopify. That's when we learned about Shopify. So we put everything on Shopify day one, first sell. So that was great. I'll always remember that for sure.
Awesome. Well, I want to ask some more specific questions about that journey. So you realize that, there is an opportunity here to help your own animal. And then how do you validate that there's a market out there to actually buy these products, that other people might be interested in these products?
Mm-hmm. Well, we did some, I would say some product market research in the sense that my mother-in-law, they developed also this line of product that they were selling already in France, in Canada, the French part, but they were only French speaking. So that's when we had the idea of doing the same thing for just the rest of the world in English. So it was already something that was proven and true. At that time, there wasn't that the natural route of treatment was not as popular as it is today. But I guess we were just a little bit, we just risked it and saw the potential, and yes, had seen it work already for in some markets. So we just believed that it would work in the US, especially for places like California or Florida, which it's a little bit more green in the mentality. So it worked. So we're pretty happy.
I mean, you'd be surprised at how many answers to that question we didn't actually think about it. We just knew it would work. Okay. So how long did it take to go from like the ideation that like, all right, we're going to make this thing until you actually had like a physical product in hand?
That's good. Like I said, we were actually lucky to have already a proven line of product that was pretty much done. So we just retook it to resell it. And we still I worked with my mother-in-law to recreate new recipes. And up to today, we still do that and always try to discover new products that would help pets. So it didn't take me too long. Just a few months. But of course, when you start, you don't know a lot of stuff. You have no clue about regulations or almost. And so we made a lot of mistakes along the way, that's for sure, especially when you have to deal with Health Canada, the FDA and all of that. So I would say the more work was done after launching the product, which we did like really we should have done it the whole way around. But anyways, we didn't know. So here we are today. And but I would say only a few months and everything was online and marketed.
Absolutely. Let's talk about launching the product and I guess the flop of the first iteration on the website. Looking back on it, what do you think went wrong?
When we were starting, we had no knowledge about e-commerce. So we had no clue about SEO, how paid ad works, all of that. And we wanted to try SEO. Had no clue how to do it. We hired this guy. I think we paid $20,000, put that on our credit card and hoped it'd work. And it did not. It did not. And that's the thing with SEO. Like, for example, you'll see results only in 6 months. So we learned it the hard way that way too, but that just brought us to learn it a little bit more ourselves. And that brought us to develop our own recipe of doing SEO, which was great in the end. We're super happy we went down that journey. And same thing with paid ads. It's a lot of trial and error. Eventually, we realized we didn't want to spend too much time trying to figure it out. So we hired an agency that helped and so on.
Absolutely. How long was that journey from making the investment into SEO? Was that in the first website on WooCommerce or was that in the second website on the Shopify website?
Yeah, I think it was on the Shopify website. So we had already started, but sales weren't picking up as quickly as we'd like to. So I would say that journey took about, for us to learn the recipe, it took about a year or so. We tested a few things, and one of the recipes we found was just to interview experts. In the at the time was first we did a guide to pet adoption. We interviewed experts and promised a link back to their website. So and then we made the content shareable for them to use. So we did guides by interviewing experts a lot. And that was one of the recipes that really worked well for us. And then we kind of recreate that recipe in other industries like dog training, raw food, things like that.
Yeah. Interviewing people is a fantastic way to build backlinks. I wonder what I'm doing here.
Yes.
All right. So you guys have this SEO strategy and you already know it takes a while for that to work. So you're putting in the work there and then you get into paid ads. Do you remember what year this was?
Paid ads. I think we started that pretty early on. So wow. Okay. Going back, maybe like within the first year, I think we're doing paid ads, maybe 2014 or so.
Was this just Google? Was Facebook even doing ads back then?
I think so. I remember, but the first paid ads we did was Google ads that I remember. And then we Facebook hopped on right after. And then we tried other things like Pinterest.
Awesome. And so you started to dabble in these. How long did it take you to really, I guess, figure out is the wrong term, but maybe like be profitable with your advertising through kind of a paid acquisition strategy?
That's an up and down journey, I think. And up till today, I mean, you're always trying to get the best ROAS. And, but I feel that we tried it ourselves. We did okay, but we felt we were lacking. So, then we tried an agency and then we switched agencies because we didn't feel our return on investment was what it was supposed to be. But again, when you're starting, you don't know what those benchmark are. So we accepted mediocrity for a long time, and then until we understood that other people you kind of create a network of e-commerce owners, and then you understand that, okay, well, here's the real benchmark you're supposed to expect in your industry in e-commerce. So, and then you can actually put a little bit more pressure and follow up on your metrics with the agency. So we did that. So I would say it took a long time. It was a really roller coaster. And like, it was only like until last year we really were okay with and to expect a ROAS, for example, of 8 on our e-commerce, where before it was 2, 3, and we're like, okay, I guess that's the industry norms. So yeah, absolutely.
And I think you've touched on that before, is you didn't know what you didn't know, and maybe hired a bit before you should have in that sense. And I think that's a common theme with founders, is like, if you're going to outsource something, you need to know enough about it to know what good or bad looks like. Because if not, you're just taking someone's word.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of shady people out there.
Mm-hmm. There are.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a few moments to talk about a partnership we've had at the agency for years. Electric Eye and Recharge have been partners for longer than I can remember. Recharge is our go-to solution for clients when it comes to subscriptions. At Electric Eye, we know the ins and outs of Recharge. For example, we've set up replenishment subscriptions for consumables, created countless subscribe and save campaigns, and most recently, we got a client into a Recharge beta program to utilize Recharge's dynamic bundling solution for subscriptions. We've partnered with Recharge to solve subscription, loyalty, and membership for a diverse range of clients spanning industries like food and beverage, automotive, supplements, CPG, and beauty. Not only is Recharge an incredible partner, they've been paving the way for subscription solutions longer than anyone else in the game. The product is unmatched, giving them a massive advantage against the competition. Clients often come to us because they've struggled to find agencies that truly understand how to harness the power of Recharge. We're not just familiar, we're bona fide Recharge experts. It's one of our specialties. It's a pain point we're happy to solve. As a top-tier Recharge expert, we have unparalleled access to support and resources that ensure we'll have a successful outcome. We stay appraised of all their new feature releases and compatibilities, bundling, memberships, flows, you name it, we know it. So, if subscriptions, memberships, or loyalty are on your to-do list and you're ready to have it done, just let us know. Visit electriceye.io/recharge today to learn more about how we can tailor Recharge's robust product to your specific needs. That's electriceye.io/recharge. Let the experts at Electric Eye get it done the right way the first time. Join the ranks of our satisfied clients who partnered with us and recharged to harness recurring revenue within their business. If you don't know what that sound is, you might be listening to the wrong podcast. That is the sound of another sale on your Shopify store. That's right, folks. We've finally made it. Shopify is a sponsor of today's episode of Honest Ecommerce, and I'm here today to talk about Shopify's point of sale solution. Shopify Point of Sale is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person. With Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. This has been a huge issue for clients of our agency in the past. You need your inventory to be synced in real time, and Shopify POS does just that. Connect with customers in-store and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. You can get hardware that fits your business, take payments by smartphone, transform your tablet into a point-of-sale system, or use Shopify's POS Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success at every step along the way. Do retail right with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/honest. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/honest, HONEST, to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/honest. All right, I want you to picture this. You're an e-commerce merchant juggling multiple platforms to manage your email marketing, SMS campaigns, and product reviews. It's a time-consuming and costly ordeal. But with SendLane, those days of chaos are long gone. SendLane brings together the power of email, SMS, and reviews all in one convenient place. So you can say goodbye to the hassle of separate tools and hello to simplified operations, increased efficiency, unified customer experience, and huge savings. And I haven't even gotten to the best part. With the all-new free SendLane reviews, you can leverage social proof to build trust and credibility with potential customers. Let me say that again, free product reviews. With SendLane, you pay for email and SMS, and you get reviews for free. SendLane understands that customer feedback is essential for the success of any e-commerce business. That's why they've made it an integral part of their platform without any additional cost to you. By unifying these key components of your tech stack, SendLane helps you save time and money, all while generating more revenue. Don't let your e-commerce tech stack hold you back. Embrace the unifying force of SendLane and take your business to new heights. Sign up today and experience the power of streamlined operations, increased efficiency, and revenue growth. Visit sendlane.com/honest to learn more and schedule your free consultation with a SendLane expert. That's sendlane.com/honest. So do you remember when, just for the e-commerce store, do you remember when things started to click and you're like, all right, we're onto something here. It's working.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said previously, the SEO definitely was something that clicked for us. We would see like spikes every 6 months of in our traffic and in our revenues. We would like see doubling of sales and traffic. So that definitely worked. I would say like the latest thing was email marketing. We let that be one of the last things we took care of for a long time. Just we thought, okay, a newsletter is good enough once in a while, but no, really not. I would say like today, we just had a meeting this morning with our email marketing guy, and this month we really hit records. 47% of our revenue comes from emails now. So we're just continuously A/B testing, trying new things, creating new flows, and we're just like over the top with the results.
Do you remember what it was when you started?
We actually put that into place last year only, and we were at 18%. Our revenue came from 18% from our email marketing. So that's a huge increase.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. And I know you talked about it in the beginning, but walk me through what was the impetus, what was the issue that was eating at you that led to launching the new SaaS business?
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, we're in Canada and shipping costs are nothing like the US are. The costs in the US are still maybe high, but nothing compared to the Canada. We cannot compete with the US. So that's already here pretty sad. So we try to do our best to optimize and save on shipping fees as much as we can. And that's not counting the length to get a package from point A to point B. So it's just eating up your profit too for everything you're putting in. And so that was one thing. At first, it was complaints from customers. They were coming to us and telling us, hey, my package is late. What can you do? And that's only when we investigated and refunded them. But then when we realized that, no, you can actually take every tracking number in whatever has a guaranteed service, and you can just track and check, okay, this one's late. You don't have to wait on a customer to complain. You can just be proactive about it and offer first that good service, and two, just claim what they owe you in the end because they did not meet their promises. So and then that's when we investigated more and more. We realized, okay, there are so many more saving opportunities. Like, you take a look at your invoices, and that just, for just an example, last year we were working with a carrier that charged, remote area fees of $30 per package, like just for no reason. They consider it was remote. That's like a huge fee for if you're shipping something that's, we have fixed costs for shipping. We try to keep it as simple as possible for customers. So that's a big shift. Like if they paid $12, that makes no sense. So, but if you don't take a look at your invoices and things like that, well, what's going to happen? You're going to be, your bottom line's not going to look pretty, and you're going to wonder why. So that's why but it takes so much time. It just takes so much time. And yes, you can put an employee to do that, even full time if you want. But eventually with time, we develop a system, and then we learn from some mistakes, and we just, make our system better and better. So we just allow people to save that time. I mean, you have better things to do. You can put that time and money into marketing or sales so yeah, that's definitely why we're doing it. I use it myself, and it's people really, really appreciate it for sure.
So I just want to reiterate things in my words, because I'm a dummy. So if I send a package to somebody, and this is in America as well?
Yes. Okay. It's a worldwide thing.
Okay, so Suzie, I'm sending you a box of chocolates as a thank you for being a guest, right? And I pay for guaranteed 2-day. Mm-hmm. If it shows up on day 3, do I get all my money back? How does it work? Just the shipping element of it?
It's the shipping fees.
Okay.
The shipping costs you paid for the package, yes. And there are certain carriers like FedEx. I think they offer, like, if it's 1 minute late, you get a refund. And we've seen cases of having package like 3 minutes late and getting a refund for like a few $1,000s on a big package. So
wow. And so how often are you talking with? Let's just draw a line in the sand. Let's say a brand, they're doing over $1 million a year, so they're sending out quite a few packages. Yeah. They're pretty well established. What is the percentage of founders that you speak to that know that this is a thing?
Not many. Unfortunately, not many. So that's why we're trying to make it our goal to educate, and it's not competing with the carrier. It's not being against carriers. It's working with your carrier. They're offering a guarantee, just like us e-commerce owners. If a product or a service that we offer our customers don't satisfy them, then that's fine. I mean, we're happy to provide that guarantee. So they understand that. So it just makes them more accountable. So yeah,
that's fantastic. So I got to ask this, splitting your time between 2 businesses, how do you do it?
That's such a great question. So I would say one word, learn to that's delegate. That's one word, but learn to delegate. That's 3. So I really learned to delegate. Was not something I was naturally born to do. I'm initially a micromanager for sure. I like to overlook every single thing. And that's what I used to do. But eventually you realize you cannot do that, especially if you're going to run 2 businesses. So one thing that really helped me delegate is hiring an executive assistant, just for inbox management, calendar. So that's such a big game changer because we just waste so much time on email, and you go away for a long weekend and then you're like, you have to catch up for a full day almost. So just having that just allowed me to have that momentum to take care of other more important things that will make a difference. And I personally ask myself on a regular basis, I try to do it maybe every month, every quarter. So for every task that I'm currently doing right now, am I the only one to be able to do them? So for example, should I actually be answering this email right now, or could my assistant do it? Or should I really be the one paying this bill, or can someone else on my team do it? So when you ask, you can actually, I list my tasks and I just put like D for delegate and M for me maybe. And then you see the patterns, and then you realize we always add back stuff that we don't necessarily have to do. We could probably delegate. And another thing is time blocking in advance. I just like to take my calendar, and I like to go with the metaphor of big rocks, pebbles, and sand. So
yes,
I'll just make sure what's the one thing I have to make sure I do every single day. Or so I add my big rocks in my calendar first, block that out. That way, great. At least the companies will roll, and I'm sure I'll be working on what's most important. And then you can add the rest, like the pebbles, the sand. And what's really important is, I mean, it's nice to set up your calendar, but then if you're going to ignore it and not take care of it, then that's another thing. So you have to I learned to really honor my calendar and value discipline over motivation, because you cannot just hope to be motivated to do everything you have to do. Sometimes you just have to learn to do it.
Absolutely. Now, is that that rocks, pebbles, and sand analogy, did you get that from Traction?
Yes.
Are you guys running on EOS over there?
We're running on EOS for both businesses. I've actually implemented that this year. There's actually a great book that doesn't speak in those terms by Back Your Time from Dan Martell. I don't know if you read that book. It's excellent. I'd recommend it. Oh, yes, please. It just shows you it's all about time management, delegating, hiring an executive assistant, all of the reasons why you should be hiring a position that, so it's a great book. It's a really great book. I'd recommend it. So that really helped me with my time management this year, mostly.
Absolutely. I would say that for all the listeners out there, I'm just going to assume most of you guys EOS is written in a very chunky corporate way. So you have to take from it what you can take from it to build it around your business. I know that Mike Michalowicz has a book that is also similar. I think it's called Clockwork. But it helps you with delegation. And then just when you're talking about delegating, one thing I also like to say is like, oftentimes you can also just automate things. And then there's the other option too, which is delete. It's like, is this actually a task that needs done at all? Yeah. And that's something people often overlook. It's like, you don't need to be doing that anymore.
Yes, exactly. And with AI now, we don't have an excuse. We can automate so many things, and it just makes our life so much easier.
Awesome. And then we glossed over, you also are a podcast host. Look, if you're listening to this podcast, they got to listen to your podcast. So talk a bit about that.
Sure. So I'm really super passionate about empowering women in business. So, and that's the reason why I launched my podcast in June, Women Powering Ecommerce. I really want to, first, it's almost selfish. I love it because I'm documenting my journey as I go and as I grow as an entrepreneur. But my goal is to really share that journey, my ups, my downs with, and it's for women, but it can be for anyone really. It's just me as a woman going through my own journey. So yeah, I like to hear success stories. We love those stories, but sometimes when we're in the trenches, we need to hear that story that for someone else, okay, it's not going maybe as well or as what they planned. So I I just try to be very open and honest, just like this podcast about, and being vulnerable, transparent about my journey, and yes, sharing my successes, but being open about sharing, okay, look, I'm doing this right now and it's not working. So that way we feel understood, we feel supported, and it's just, having, inviting people to hop on my own journey.
Absolutely, Suzie. Now, we talked about both the businesses as well. What are the .coms if I'm interested in the homeopathic remedies for my pet? Bella's outside. I'm sure she'd love something. Or if, I'm interested in saving on shipping mishaps. That's probably a terrible way to put it. But what are these websites that the listeners should go check out?
Yeah, sure. So for the pet products, Zumalka.com. And for to help lower your shipping invoices, busterfetcher.com.
Absolutely. And I'll link to both of those and Suzie's podcast in the show notes. Suzie, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Chase. It was such an honor.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.